Have you ever wondered what it would be like to have supervision, enhanced hearing, extraordinary reflexes, to be, dare we say, superhuman? Well, Roku's new Pro Series TV can't do any of that for you. But with a 4K screen, side-firing speakers, and a blazing fast refresh rate, it'll sure feel like it. Elevate your entertainment using all your favorite apps like iHeart and play all your music, radio, and podcasts with the new Roku Pro Series. Your senses aren't better. Your TV is.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Broadcasting live across the world right now. This is the John Jay and Rich radio program.
And we're rolling. Okay, Stacey Berra, you have been married to me, Rich Berra, for how many months now?
How many months? It's actually been 24 months or 2 years, as some say.
How come when it comes to little baby children, people say, oh, they're 34 months, but when it comes to marriage, you have to say 2 years? Why can't we use months for our marriage as well?
Well, actually, Richard, they only use months up until the 1 year mark.
I knew you'd have a hot
Yeah.
take. So part of our segment that we're going to do today
kind of wrong.
is
Okay.
going to say, of course. Part of what we're going to do is what I like to call Stacey's hot takes, because I have never had a conversation with you or just even walking through a parking lot where you don't have a hot take on something.
That is true.
Let me introduce you to the audience. So, Stacey, for those who don't know, I know we've talked about it on this show before, but you have your, correct me if I'm wrong, you have your master's in theology from Dallas Seminary, correct?
Yes.
And
Dallas Theological Seminary. Yes.
And you also have an English master's with an emphasis in writing.
No, that's wrong. I have a master's in education with an emphasis in English, and then my undergrad is a degree in communication with an emphasis in journalism/writing. Yes.
Your favorite color is periwinkle.
That is not true.
What is your favorite color?
You know, a peachy pink blush.
Your favorite car is a Honda Accord.
No, it's not.
What is your favorite car?
Why are you saying these things? You know what my favorite car is.
I've just seen if you're paying attention.
This is so weird.
So, as we break stuff down, I want you to kind of give me a little bit of what you noticed watching the Bachelor finale the other night, where it feels like maybe the Bachelor might have picked the wrong girl.
Oh my gosh, I do not even know where to start.
Well, just go.
Okay,
Just go.
I mean, there is just so much to unpack here. First of all, I just need to say for the record that even though, yes, I do think he picked the wrong girl, the girl he picked, there's nothing wrong with her. She is sweet. She's lovely. She's very nice. No offense to her. Like, truly, she's fine. But the thing is, the Bachelor is 31 years old. The other woman, who I will call the first runner-up.
What's her name? Do we remember?
Latia.
Latia, yes.
Latia.
She's awesome.
She is statuesque. She looks like she is 6 feet tall. She gives Queen Nefertiti a run for her money. I mean, she is...
Bible reference for people who don't know.
Well, no, that's more like Egyptian reference, but it's fine. So she is gorgeous. She's got long dark hair. She's supermodel looks. She's well spoken, except when she has a few sips of champagne, which we'll get to. But she is so just thoughtful and nice, and she wants to give him a family and kids and just loves him. And I mean, that is the wife he should have gone with.
Okay, so are you watching it thinking good match for him, or are you thinking good wife material?
I'm thinking both. I thought they were the perfect match.
Because I know you watch some and be like, yeah, she's nice, but she's not ready to be a wife yet.
Right. And that's how I felt about the one he chose. She's a perfectly lovely girl, but he needs to date her for like 4 years. And I feel like if you go on the show and you're being genuine and you really are looking to get married, then choose the girl who's ready to get married. And that was the other one. That was Latia.
Well, tell me about, by the way, that's Nigel, your dog that has joined us in the studio.
Yes, Nigel was doing what I call somersaults, which are basically tons of rolling over to the point where he might as well just put his head down and flip over and do a somersault. But that means he is extraordinarily happy.
He's staring me down. I feel like he doesn't trust me hosting this podcast.
He's like, what are you doing with my mom?
With his human eyes, his human dog eyes. I'm sorry, go back to what you were doing.
No, but I just do want to say for the record, I think Nigel approves of the couples therapy. Anyway, so back to The Bachelor. Basically, yes, I think he totally picked the wrong one. However, I will say there was some comic relief in the finale when that sweet little Latia, who does come from a Mormon background, so I'm going to assume does not really drink the alcohol very often, had a few sips of champagne and then walks up to him and he's like, "Oh, you look beautiful." And she's like, "You're beautiful." And
I saw that. That was awesome.
And he's like, "I'm so glad to see you." And "I'm glad to see you." And it's like that went on for a good 3 minutes. And I just enjoyed that so much.
Poor thing.
But then she got her heart broken.
She called him. She said, up until last night, you said we're getting engaged tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then he flipped the switch.
Right, exactly. And that's what was so heartbreaking is she really thought it was her, and she thought it was her for good reason.
We talk about, or at least you talk about having the gift of
discernment
when it comes to people. So if you look forward, do you see them getting married, or you not think they're going to end up getting married? The Bachelor and his pick. Do you think it's not going to work?
I don't think they'll end up getting married. That's not to say that they might not date for a while, but I don't think they'll make it all the way to marriage. I just think she's too young and not ready.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Hot take.
That is a hot take.
Okay. So earlier this morning, we talked about doing this podcast, and I'm checking my phone because I've asked listeners to ask questions that they would like me to ask you.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
I have a few. And some of them are kind of serious, actually.
Oh, wow.
For Stacey, how did you decide you wanted to commit to a second marriage after dealing with the first marriage that did not work after the aftermath? Why did you decide to marry me is what they're saying.
Well, I mean, the short, easy answer is because you are you. And I have always... well, at least since adulthood, I have done this thing where I recognize in certain people a quality that I call being a magic person. And maybe we should pause and say that actually my dad was a magician. And so when I say a magic person, I'm actually not talking about a magician because I know what a magician is. And that is not what I mean. When I say a magic person, I mean someone who just has an indescribable special quality. And there is just something about their energy and their presence and the thing that kind of makes them unique and special that just qualifies them as this magic person. And I can't put my finger on what it is, but I can recognize it and I know it when I see it. And
do you see it a lot?
I don't see it a lot. And that is why when I saw it in you and when you and I had the kind of conversations and whether it was light and fun or deep and probing, which people might be surprised. You can go very deep, Richard. Yeah, nobody probably knows that, but you really do. And it's a beautiful thing. And so bottom line, because you are you, I had to give marriage a second chance because I wanted so much to be with you. And I'm so glad I did because I am so incredibly happy. And I hope you are too.
Well, that was sweet.
You didn't say you were happy, though. Say you're happy.
I am incredibly happy.
Okay.
Of course,
Yay!
everybody knows I'm happy.
Good.
People can tell.
All right.
And they could tell when I wasn't. Trust me. Oh,
okay.
yeah. I thought I pretended pretty well, but I did not. Okay, from Science Chick 33.
Ooh.
Stacy, what's the secret to actually falling in love in staying in love?
Wow, people are asking these love questions. Interesting. Falling in love and staying in love. Okay. I think that you cannot fall in love with your head. You have to fall in love with your heart. And so if I may circle back to The Bachelor, I'm gonna go ahead and give the guy, and I watched the whole season and I forget his name, but I think it's Matt. I know. It's like I know the girls' names, but I forget the guys. I think it's Matt. I'm gonna give him a pass if he chose the girl he did because he went with his heart. If you choose entirely from the head, so if he had chosen Latia because she did check all the boxes, but his heart just wasn't in it, then I kind of see why. Now, we can talk why I don't think that was the case, but whatever. You have to fall in love with your heart. You have to let the heart lead. But then to stay in love, the head has to enter in because you have to make a daily decision as the relationship goes on. And Nigel, by the way, is doing somersaults again, so he agrees. You have to make that choice daily when conflict arises, when difficulties come up, when you don't agree, when you're faced even with a tragedy. You have to make the decision to stay in love. So starts with the heart and then continues with the head is what I'd say.
That's a great answer because it leads to another question. Let me see if I can pull this up right. From Johnny on the Spot. So with that being said, what's the biggest fight you two have had?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, the two biggest fights we've had are what I would call the Scorpion fight and the Jumpsuit Jenny fight. But I'm going to talk about the Scorpion fight because I think that was our first fight that was like the one that was just off the charts.
Well, we've had a couple of big ones, but they're never about anything. They're big fights, but they're not about big things.
Exactly.
They're about the stupidest things.
Like, again, the scorpion, which people are going to hear about. Scorpions are not big things. I mean, they're yucky and gross, and if they sting you, it might be a big thing for a moment, but they are not big things. Okay, so our biggest fight was about a scorpion. People need to know that Rich gets up very early in the morning to make it to the radio station. So at the end of the week, he's usually really tired. And I also have a lot of plate spinning and projects. So by the end of the week, I'm really tired. So sometimes Thursday or Friday is like a recipe for disaster if we're not careful to manage our sleep earlier on in the week. Well, for some reason, we must not have done a good job that week because we entered into a conversation about the fact that there was a scorpion in the house. And Rich was like, I'm pretty sure that the reason we have a scorpion is because you've been ordering quite a few packages from Amazon, and those scorpions hang on to the packages and they just get carried right in. And he's in fact doing it right now. He's grabbing onto a box with his two little hands,
My little scorpion hands,
mimicking the scorpion. And I was like, oh my gosh, it is not my packages that are the reason that a scorpion is in the house. It is the fact that you leave our back sliding door wide open for hours at a time. And that scorpion just walks right in. He just saunters into the house.
Scorpions don't saunter.
Oh, no, I think they saunter. And so it's like he has an open invitation just to walk right in. And he's like, no, they come in on the box. And I'm like, no, they come in because you leave the door open. And
listen,
we went round and round.
When Moxie comes and sprays for scorpions, they put an impenetrable level of spray down. So if the scorpion were to saunter through that spray, by the time it gets in the house, it is dying. It's not jumping around and getting downstairs or upstairs or wherever scorpions go freely. It was because of delivery boxes.
Well, okay, A, this reminds me very much of the fight. But B, we did not have Moxie at the time, so I do not think you can rely on that.
Moxie.
Now
Moxie
we
Pest
have
Control.
Moxie, and it would never happen again.
Look up Moxie
But,
Pest Control
yes.
to get 50% off your first initial treatment. Proud sponsor of the John Jane Rich Show. Okay,
And preventer of future fights.
so that was the biggest fight. But normally the big stuff we get along and
We
we figure
agree
it out.
on really well.
We
yeah.
actually come together very well on the big
Yes.
stuff. The little stuff we will debate for hours and hours and hours.
Yes, because we both
Strongly.
do what we call right fighting.
We
Like,
never back down from our
Yeah,
stance.
we each think that we are right, and we passionately pursue that.
Would it make you feel better if I told people you were right most of the time?
But do you really believe that?
That's not what I asked. Would it make you feel better?
Well, it will only make me feel better if you actually believe it. If you just say it, then no, you have to believe it.
In hindsight, you're mostly right most of the time.
Thank you, Booty. That's
I was
so
right that one time.
nice. Yeah, you were. And remember that one time? I even said you were right, and I apologized for being wrong.
You're
so
the best.
thanks, baby.
Okay.
You're so sweet.
Listeners want to know, what is it at home that I do that kind of annoys you that you don't even talk about?
Well, I feel like I have talked about this, but the first thing that comes to my mind is your obsessiveness about doing chores. Like, it's like you walk into the kitchen and you see one fork in the sink and you're like, oh my gosh, I must unload the dishwasher in order to put this one fork into the dishwasher. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's fine. Just let the fork lie there. It's truly okay for just a little bit. And then
You don't feel like the lone fork with this little rusty end of peanut butter or food on it. It's completely taking away you like pretty things.
I do.
You
I
don't see
do.
that beautiful
Well-
sink that is just tarnished by the nastiness of gross used food that's starting to get dried up and crusty.
And okay, and I probably sound terrible because I should be grateful that my sweet husband, and you are so sweet, does chores. I should be. But it's more like I know that you need to relax and decompress and even take a nap because I know what could.
What are you looking for in a new smart TV? 4K picture quality, high quality and immersive sound, a sleek design? All of those are givens, but only the new Roku Pro Series has all of those and the Roku streaming experience, an award-winning OS. Get fast, easy access to all your apps like iHeart, where you can stream all your favorite music, radio, and podcasts all day, and regular all-inclusive trips to Roku City. The new Roku Pro Series, a smart TV built by the streaming pros.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Transpire if you don't do that. And so I'm like, please just let that go. And,
Do you think
and
I'm
rest.
bad at relaxing?
Yes.
You do?
100%, except when we go on vacation. Then you, like when we go to Sedona.
I don't like vacation.
Well, you don't like to go, but once I get you there, then you like it. But,
I like work.
Well, I know, and I like work too, and that's one of the reasons we get along. But once we get to let's say to Sedona, which is one of our favorite spots, or to the beach, which is another favorite spot, you finally let go and you relax, and then you just nap like crazy, and it's a beautiful thing, and we don't fight.
Question from Native Monster.
Ooh.
Who's in charge between you two?
Oh, that's a good one because honestly, I'm not going to say it's me. I don't think it's me. And remember, I'm a girl who believes in biblical roles, and I do think that the husband, and I could get flack for this, but the husband should be the spiritual leader of the family. And so I want Rich to be the leader of the household. But I'm winding up. But I will say, That means he's 51 and I'm 49. Like, I think we're just about equal.
Wait, is this the way you envision it, or you think that's the way it
I
usually
think that's
rolls?
the way it is.
What am I in charge of?
Well, you're in charge of...
See?
Well...
Nothing.
No, you're in charge of the big things, I feel like.
What's big?
Well, like...
What big decision have I made?
You've made big decisions about, like, financial things.
That's just like we should spend less on DoorDash. That's not really
You've made big decisions.
That's not really putting my foot down.
Well,
that's just saying, here's a good idea.
Well, that's true.
And then we're DoorDashing tonight.
Well, yes,
Because we have
that's
this
true.
podcast.
Well, yeah, that's a good reason, though. I mean, I am in charge of the day-to-day things, but I do think when the big, big life things happen, you lead the ship. I really do feel that. So maybe it's 50.2 and 49.8, and now I'm doing math and you don't like that, but still, it's very close. But I still want to give you the edge because I think that's right.
Let me wrap up by giving you a couple of things that I would like a hot take on.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. Best burger through a drive-through.
Oh man, I'm gonna surprise peeps. I think Wendy's.
Best fries through a drive-through.
Again, I'm gonna surprise peeps. Good old McDonald's French fries.
Best sit-down dinner for under $50 for a couple.
Okay. Oh gosh. Under $50 is what's throwing me because food right now is so expensive. But if you're really careful and you go especially at happy hour, I'm gonna say Buck and Ryder. Especially their happy hour, you can do it.
Chili's or Olive Garden?
Olive Garden.
IHOP or Denny's?
IHOP.
Ooh, boy, see, hot takes.
Yeah, well, you didn't even get me going on things like that I really today was just thinking about, like, for example, the Stanley Cup. Like, I really thought I needed to share my thoughts about the Stanley, and I'm so sad I didn't get to. So
do you not
hopefully-
like the Stanley Cup?
I'm just frustrated that people don't see it for what it is, which is really just a cup that periodically comes out in different colors.
Okay, well, wait, this is a totally different segment I have for you.
Oh.
That's not a hot take.
Oh.
This is a I cannot.
Oh,
This is the I cannot.
that's not a hot take?
That's a I cannot.
Well,
with the
that's
Stanley
true.
Cup.
I cannot with the Stanley Cup.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Go.
Okay. Other things I cannot?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, no, that's another segment. So I just thought that my feelings about the Stanley were a hot take, but apparently
You cannot.
I cannot. Yeah.
What else can you not with? What do you see that you cannot when you see it?
Oh,
Give me a fashion I cannot.
oh, okay. I've got so many. When hardware does not match, for example, unless you're deliberately mixing metals in a deliberate way, if you mix different like silvers and golds, not purposefully, that is annoying. If you don't match your belt to your shoes, that's annoying. If you're too matchy, that is also annoying. If you think that you can't wear, for example, brown and black, you actually can. And those rules are antiquated. You just have to do it in the right way.
Same for guys and girls, or are you talking mostly for females?
It's actually the same for both.
Okay, all those things.
Uh-huh.
So if you're a guy, you cannot wear brown shoes with a black belt.
No, right, correct.
Okay.
But you can wear brown and black together if you do it the right way. So you could wear a dark charcoal shirt and a brown belt and brown shoes if it's the right hue of brown.
People might not know that you own a med spa. What's a makeup I cannot?
A makeup? Oh my gosh. Okay, there's again so many. I have to take a quick sip of my Diet Coke.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, because I just have to do a quick run here. I cannot with the overly done lash extensions where people like look like they have a tarantula on their eyes. I cannot with that. That is one. I cannot with super, super dark blush, which if you're going to go super, super dark, then why don't we just do a throwback and call it rouge like our parents did, because that's what it looks like. I hate like hot pink lips or lips that don't look like a color that your lips naturally could be.
Oh, so like blue lipstick? No.
Well, nobody really does that. But it's like, I just think a natural look that's just slightly glammed up is always in style and looks better. And then I'm going to cap it off with this one. When your face makeup does not match the rest of your body, like your face is either too light or too dark compared to your neck, I fully cannot.
Good answer. Okay, so you own a med spa. You've seen all the trends. You know about all the facial things, the Botox things, the laser things. What is like the best bang for the buck? If I were to come in and I'm a female and I come to see you for a face thing, what's the best, like, you're going to look good right away and it lasts for a long time for the money?
Wow. Well, I mean, some of that does depend on what your desires are, but that's really hard because different people have different wants when they come through the door. But I'm going to say using a biostimulator product such as Radiesse, which is injected into the skin and will fill some of the areas that you've lost collagen in, and that makes us look older. So it'll boost a little bit of the fullness that you've lost. But the great thing about it is that it'll also make your own body produce more collagen naturally. So you experience the effects long after you get the immediate effect from the injection. So I think that one is kind of like you get a twofer, for that product. So that's the one I'm going to go with. But if you have like really, really bad, like, scrunchy mad lines on your forehead, then, I mean, you got to do Botox. So it really just depends on what you want.
Just getting facials.
Well, okay. So then I have to, with facials, say microneedling. Microneedling is the best facial treatment I think that you can do, because it stimulates your skin to produce collagen and resurface itself so that you have that smooth, lovely layer that we all want and crave, and that we lose when we get older.
Tammy Gaynor says, Rich, your wife is stunning. Ask her what she does to stay trim. Like, what's your food run? What do you do during a day? Or what's your exercise? What's the secret?
Oh my gosh. Well,
for Tammy.
Okay. Well, some of it, honestly, is just having too many projects at once. And so I'm like zipping here and zipping there. And then essentially that gets my cardio in, because I'm going here, there, and everywhere.
You forget to eat.
Well, no. Well, I don't forget to eat. I mean, sometimes I do, but that sounds terrible. But what I do, though, is I'm a huge believer, and this is my biggest piece of advice I can give. I'm a huge believer in portion control. I just think that if you can have the willpower to eat not a full serving of whatever you're given. So, half a burger or a few bites of that cake or 7 French fries instead of a whole serving. That is my biggest secret.
Have you counted out like, oh, I've eaten 7 French fries, I better back off? Have you done that?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
Is that why when I say, what did you have for lunch? And you'll say like, I've had 6 bites of a burger.
Yes.
And I've had 3 bites of something else.
Yeah.
Like, because you are counting.
I am. Yeah. And for me, because I have that crazy thing with numbers, that I remember numbers. I don't remember other things, but I remember numbers. That just sticks in my head. And then I try to be very exact when I talk to people. So that's why I say that. But yes, that is true. I do have just a few bites of this, a few bites of that, a few bites of that, and it satiates, and I'm not hungry, and then I don't go overboard with the eating.
I think you did a really good job. I thought you might have even been, honestly, I know that you talk to me a lot, but I thought you might have been a little shy on the podcast. You are not shy. You've got this down.
Well,
The hot takes, the I cannots.
Well, I mean, think about it. If you have so many hot takes and the only person you can share them with is you, you have now given me a platform to share my hot takes, and I'm so appreciative.
There's people out there, non-manchic browns and blacks with pink lipstick, and they're just like, oh, I got to go back. I got to go back home and start all over again. Okay, so give me one more thing. I know I tell people all the time how brilliant and smart you are. In fact, Kyle on our show talks about how eloquently you speak. Give us a really big word that we can use to impress somebody over the next few days. Like a fancy word that is like your $5 word of the day.
Okay, I'm going to go with enigmatic.
Enigmatic. Use it in a sentence.
That's a very enigmatic concept.
Which means?
Somewhat mysterious and not able to specifically put your finger on.
So it kind of covers the bases of being almost like a big word that could mean a few
different things.
It doesn't really describe anything specifically, but it could be used in a lot of situations.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's pretty cool. Okay, anything you want to say in the podcast before we wrap this whole thing up, Miss Stacey?
No, I think...
Did you have fun?
I had so much fun. Like I said, you've given me a platform.
Would you like to do it again?
I would love to, because my hot takes will never run out, and we barely scratched the surface of what I cannot. So let's do it again, Richard.
Love you.
Love you.
What are you looking for in a new smart TV? 4K picture quality, high quality and immersive sound, a sleek design? All of those are givens, but only the new Roku Pro Series has all of those and the Roku streaming experience, an award-winning OS. Get fast, easy access to all your apps like iHeart, where you can stream all your favorite music, radio, and podcasts all day, and regular all-inclusive trips to Roku City. The new Roku Pro Series, a smart TV built by the streaming pros.
For some of us, personal finances aren't just personal. They include a lot more people than ourselves. Loved ones, neighbors, the communities we call home, and the causes we hold in our hearts. At Thrivent, we help plan your financial picture with the bigger picture in mind. Because even though our business is helping guide your finances, our ambition is to make it mean so much more. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.